Agile certification is a waste of money, right? Well, it depends. This is to do with a thread on LinkedIn that I've been discussing. The point that I made was, if you want to get the most out of your Agile training, you want to get somebody who's been a practitioner in the past, and even better, they are still a practitioner in what they're trying to teach you, especially if it's something like a masterclass. Now, somebody made a really interesting point yesterday, and it's come up again today by someone else, and they've said, hold on a second. It doesn't really matter in some cases if trainers have actually been practitioners, because we're dealing with complexity. And let's just get clear on what that word would mean in this conversation. Something is complex whereby you have to experience it to understand what you need to do. Are you with me? So you are dealing with a complex situation when you don't know the outcome. You got to do something, see what happens, and then make a decision. And, that of course means, being adaptive, and that's where we get into experimentation, and Scrum talks about inspecting and adapting. That's the heart. That's the whole point of dealing with complexity. We deal with feedback loops, right? So it's a really interesting point, isn't it? Then why should you care that if the person is teaching you has experience or not? Because if we're dealing with complex things in the world of work, and a lot of things are complex in terms of products that we build, services we build, how we get teams to become effective, no one team or product is the same. Why do you need then to have a trainer who has been a practitioner? Because they're dealing with complexity, and there's no way that they know what the outcome is anyway. Well, here's the kicker. Let me give you an example. When I think about complexity, I'm a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, okay? And when you spar with people, the objective of sparring in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so the outcome you're trying to get to, is to get the other person to tap out. And that can be achieved through a series of different types of chokes and a number of different types of manipulations. Like, when I say manipulation, I sound like a chiropractor now. Like, that's an arm bar, a knee bar. It goes on and on and on. You will not know how your opponent is going to react when you spar. It is complex. It is only through trying certain things that you see their outcomes. But I don't know about you. I personally wouldn't want to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from someone who has only read about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I would like to learn from somebody who has practiced, and ideally somebody who has competed, because the level of pressure and challenge is greater. So this is a good example of whereby we're talking about a sport, and it doesn't get more complex than a sport because we don't know the outcome. There are a number of tactics you can use in different sports, like let's say Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you don't know for sure what's going to work until you do it. But the person who is teaching you and training you, if they have practiced, it's not that they know that every single outcome is going to be X, Y, or Z. No, they don't know the outcome. It's just that they have actually been in a situation of dealing with uncertainty, and they're able to make sense of different challenges and then do the next best thing. So when they're presented with a certain type of movement or attack or defense, based on what they've seen and what they can assess, they can offer you an idea of an option of what would you do if you end up giving your back to a person, which is not a good position to be in, or what would happen if somebody mounted you, which again is not a very good position to be in. But if you've only read about how to react to being mounted or someone taking your back to choke you, then you don't really have the practical experience, the theoretical understanding. And it's never going to be as rich as a person who's been on the mats and rolled around and failed many, many, many times, because that's generally what happens when you begin to learn about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You get your ass kicked for a couple of years, and then you begin to, stitch a few things together. And that's where the value is. So when I talk about trainers, yes, we deal with complexity, and practitioner, it's not that they know what's going to happen when they're dealing with complexity. It means that they're more likely to be able to assess and make sense of different challenges, and to give themselves a series of options to explore to do their next best thing to get towards a desired outcome. All right, I hope that was useful. What do you think? How do you see it? Thanks for watching. Peace.